record, hit the stream, go back, connecting live video. There we go. And I thought there was a go live button.
There was.
Oh, there it is. It's on the bottom left. Okay. Here we go. Go live.
There we go.
All right. So let me do some. All right, almost there.
Okie dokie.
I'm getting some noises.
I hear it when watching the
And one more.
what are you trying to do?
Post into groups. All right. So let me make sure that this is full screen before I flip over. Kill the music. Go here. I'm getting some kind of alerts, but I can't see them right now because I've got to see full screen of Oz and myself. So, greetings, citizens of the internet. I'm Static Buzz, and this is the Gaming Watch Weekly News Show, episode number 33, show number 33 for June 28th, 2020. And for some reason, there we go. I was on the wrong page for the news notes. Lots of stuff's been happening over the last couple weeks. We haven't been around. We've been trying to decide what we want to do with the channel. This is one of the shows that we both enjoy doing, so we're going to continue doing this, and hopefully it picks up and people start watching it and enjoying it. If not, we enjoy doing it, so we're going to keep doing it. That's pretty much what it is. As for the last couple weeks, it's been pretty much trying times for everybody, right? We all been going through a lot of stuff. We all been trying to get through a lot of stuff, and gaming makes that a little easier. That's why we're here, so that we can tell you what's going on in the gaming world. But before we get to that, with me as always is Oz over there. How you doing, Oz?
Pretty good. I usually say can't complain, but you know, with everything going on, it's not really fun. You know, everyone, you know, dealing with COVID and all the political stuff with it being an election year. You know, it's just, yeah.
Yeah,
But,
we
you
don't want to
know,
get into that. We want to
No.
stick. We want to stick with gaming. That's what this is about. It's about
But
gaming.
you
It's
know,
about fun.
but gaming wise, it's it might shape up to be a good year. I'm hoping it does, to be
Yeah.
honest.
It's starting
So-
to, even though there's a lot of delays going on right now. That's the only part that's kind of hampering my optimism for the rest of the years, all the delays. Even though we did get some good videos for Cyberpunk 2077 over the last week. I don't know if you saw any of that stuff going on.
I watched them. I didn't watch them live like you did, but I did watch them after the fact. I'm, as always, still super stoked for that game. And I mean, I like the cyberpunk genre, but then finally being able to play it and then have Keanu Reeves in with it, it's gonna shape up to be a good game.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, it's been pushed back. So, and one of my things today is talking about the DLC being pushed back as well. So,
so, what you been playing lately? Saw
I've
something
been
a
also
little
like
different
today.
today. Yeah, what have you been doing today?
So lately, I've been kind of slumming it late and playing World of Warships. Just something you know not super time consuming, but I do enjoy naval warfare. So um, I'm unlocked at my first battleship. So those things are slow, or they're big, they're hard to turn. But if I can get you broadside, I can usually deal some pretty good damage. So, but I tried playing some Kingdom Come for a little bit, and that game is like crazy stupid difficult. you know, like stupid difficult. So I kind of sat that down again because I'm like, as much as I like that genre, they made it overly difficult. Like you fall down and all of a sudden your legs are broken and then you're bleeding out and the screen gets real red and you're like, well, this sucks. So yeah, I'm just kind of trying to figure out what it is I want to play. Like I played some Jurassic Park Evolution for a little while. Uh, Went back to The Witcher 3. Got a good chunk through that. So
So it sounds like you're kind of in a blah.
I'm in a funk because nothing's really capturing it right now because there's nothing new. It's the same old stuff. Nothing going on in World of Warcraft. Nothing really going on in Diablo. Hearthstone's got something going on. I should probably check that out and do a video on. But, it's trying to just, you know, with everything going on, it's just hard to find that motivation to want to just do it. you know?
I feel you. I feel you. I've been playing a lot of The Last of Us 2, and I just finished, for those that are watching this series, the Persona 5 Royal walkthrough. I've got to edit some videos before I put those out, but they'll be coming out in the next couple days. And I actually finally finished that and did my save for New Game Plus. So
Nice.
there was some things at the end that I was not expecting. Some new stuff for sure, and was kept it interesting. That's the thing about the, you play Persona 5, and you go through it, and I played it like 3 times, so I know pretty much what's going on step by step. And then Royal comes out, and they add just enough to be like, okay, I wonder what's going to happen after this, and enough to get you wanting to come in there and keep you invested. So it's pretty
Yes.
good. But enough of the banter. Let's get into the news. And the first first article we're going to talk about is Dr. Disrespect banned from Twitch, and nobody, not even him, knows why. So I guess if you guys are unaware, a couple days ago, 2 days ago, or whatever, Dr. Disrespect got banned from Twitch. Twitch hasn't made an official statement about it, and according to the tweet from Dr. Disrespect, and I'll go and I'll read that, says he tweeted this yesterday. Champion Club, which is what he calls his community, Twitch has not notified me on the specific reason behind their decision. Firm handshakes to all for the support during this difficult time, Dr. Disrespect. So he doesn't even know what he did to get banned. And it's just another one of those things that I think is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I don't know if there's an appeal or whatever, but maybe they don't have to tell them. Maybe it's like one of those jobs you got where they could just say your services are no longer required and have a nice life, and they don't have to give you a reason for terminating you. I don't know.
That's kind of maybe how I would see it. I mean, first off, I don't like the guy. I've watched him stream. I just don't really care for it. As we all know, he actually got a temporary ban back during the last E3 for being in the bathroom with cameras rolling, which is against the law. And he just doesn't really just seem to care. I mean, I'm not that type of gamer where he's toxic as far as I'm concerned, and the people he draws in. So for me, it's no loss. I mean, I'm not a I'm not that type of streamer either, where I'd be competing for him, be competing for views. But even if I was, it's like that's not the type of people I want to draw in. I mean,
No.
that whole toxic environment just makes gaming suck. I mean, if you played World of Warcraft, you know that there are toxic communities out there. Like
Well,
WoW's forums and stuff like that.
all you gotta do is play a couple hours of random Rocket League matches, and you'll see
Oh,
toxicity on both sides, your
oh yeah.
teammates and the other team, and they just don't care. It's almost best to turn off chat sometimes, but I kind of do it as motivation. Like if they say something, I'm like, all right, let's go. You know. So,
Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know. I've been a gamer for a long time. I'm in my 40s. I just don't tolerate that shit. I enjoy a game to get away from the toxicity of the outside world, not to then surround myself more with it. And that's just what he brings to the table. I mean, honestly, I think they all know. But there's something that there might be something out there as to we can't discuss it until Twitch has said something about it. Because there was somebody out there, I was reading, I Googled it, and there was some friend of his that said they know exactly why, but they're not saying, and blah blah blah, whatever.
well, yeah, and then
It's
there was a couple of videos where people were acting like they knew, but it was a joke. Like he didn't do this. He didn't promote the Soldier Boy consoles or some just stupid things that that would not have got him banned. Just like
no, that shit
really.
wouldn't get him banned. I mean,
So
it's
they're just joking, being whatever.
oh yeah, oh yeah, they're just trying to get their views up by using his name and clickbaiting it. But my thing is, it's like, yeah, he's gone. Um, do I think it's permanent? No, because he is kind of a cash cow. He does have a large viewer base. I mean, if anything, he just jumps platforms. I mean, Mixer's out, but he could always jump over to Facebook Gaming or whatever, and make that his platform.
YouTube or whatever. He's already got a presence on YouTube somewhat.
So my thing is, it's like eh, he's not gone. He'll find some other way to keep going.
Well, until he gets banned from those platforms, we'll see.
If he does, I mean, in today's censoring, I mean, it's almost inevitable, with the way he is. But personally, I mean, if it is censorship is why he got banned, then I wholeheartedly disagree with it. But like there's just no love lost for the guy as far as I'm
No,
concerned.
this wasn't like a case of cancel culture because you would have seen that they would have been calling out for him to be canceled before he got banned, and I didn't see any of that. So I don't
Yeah,
believe it's cancel culture.
I don't know either. At this point, I have a feeling Twitch will come out with something probably this week. Uh, you know, I mean, they've got to provide something. You can't just not. You know what I mean? I
Well,
mean,
why?
his fans are going to want something concrete to
But
bite off
think
of.
of all the. Okay, so before this, when was the last time you heard of Doctor Disrespect and you cared about the article? When he
Oh, the
went
last time
when he went to the
when he got,
bathroom.
yeah, yeah, that was it.
So really, he's been out of the limelight. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back on Twitch and this was all just a thing to get him some publicity back and get him trending again. It would not surprise me. I don't think that it is, but it would not
Let's say if it
surprise me.
is, that's such bullshit.
Well,
I mean, to sit there and go, oh, make something up, and then just get his. Because my thing would be like, hey, I'm Twitch. I didn't do anything, to ban this guy. He's just doing this to get his numbers up. If it works for him, I guess. But
No,
I
they did
mean,
say that they did ban him. Twitch did come out and say they
okay.
did ban him. They just didn't say
Well,
why. And
I mean, that's fine by me. I mean,
think about the timing of it though, right? After the Mixer news, which we won't talk about because I'll be talking about that later.
yep.
Mixer was all of a sudden probably trending, and then a couple days later, this comes out. It wouldn't surprise me. That's all I'm saying. I don't think that it is. I really think that he did something, and they were like, "We're done. We can't have this no more," because he's gonna. But
I mean,
until we figure out what it is,
my thing is like I said, I don't like the guy, but I'm just curious as what it is at this point,
yeah.
because it's like, it's a cliffhanger, But once I know, it'll be like, all right, I know. Let's move on, next story type thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I don't
speaking of
know.
next story, you want to go into it?
Sure. So, The Last of Us 2 sells 4 million copies in 3 days, setting a new franchise record, which is actually really impressive, being that its last record for Naughty Dog was, yeah, was the last
I'm
record
one of
was
those.
Uncharted 4, which was at 2.7 million for that's its own company, but it beat out God of War, which sold 3.1 million, and then Spider-Man, which sold 3.3 million in 3 days. So I haven't played this yet, to be honest. With everything that's going on, it flew by my radar. It's on the list of games to get and play.
Well,
But
just wait. I have the disc. When I'm done with it, you can borrow it.
okay, but I was actually excited to see this because I really liked the first one. I mean, it was one of the, but I mean, if you guys have watched our show, I like games that you can emotionally get involved in. Like, I don't know, I bring it up Mass Effect, like man tears when guys die in that. So this is one of the games where you get emotionally invested. I like that type of stuff when it comes to games, and I was really happy to see that The Last of Us actually set the record, set the bar high for other games to come. So, tip my hat to Naughty Dog for doing such a good job with this.
Yeah,
Um,
I kind of want to roll off of this into another part of The Last of Us 2, which I almost did. Um, I almost did its own article on. So I don't know if you knew this, but the review scores are really separated from separated. They're really different from the professional reviewers to the user reviews on Metacritic. And these some of these are, I don't know if they're review bombs or not. I think some people had legitimate issues with it, and I'm not going into those issues because, and what I mean not going into, I'm not reading what those people's issues are. There's been a petition for people, for Naughty Dog to change the story.
why?
And I don't know if it's just the end. I haven't got into it. I saw the title of the thing and there were spoilers in it, so I didn't read it. And since I'm not all the way through the game, I'm not going to read that until I'm done. But to give you an idea, on Metacritic right now, I just pulled this up. Professional reviewers are giving it a 94, and user reviews are at 4.8, and it was lower than 4.8 earlier in the week.
Score a user can give it.
Yeah, like log into, you
No, no,
know,
no. What's the highest score?
you can give it a
So
10. It's the same scoring range, it's tens.
so okay. Now, typically, I in games I don't pay attention to what professionals say because they're usually bought and paid for. So I usually listen to what the users say. But I don't know, man. Games like this, any type of game that's very story driven, emotional driven, um, I actually don't care what the reviews say because I will draw my own to it. Like Mass Effect had ups and downs in its reviews. And it's one of those where it's like, well, I don't give a shit. If I enjoy it, I enjoy it. That's all that matters. I don't care what your opinion is. I mean, we can see, like, if you hated it and I liked it, we could debate it all day long.
Right.
But you're not going to change my opinion on it. It's one of those where it's like, I love it, dude. So, you can tell me all the reasons why you hate it. I will just come at you with like all the reasons why I loved it. And this is one of those games I am sure I can get behind and will stamp it going, Oz approved because the first one was amazing. So why would
Well,
this be any different?
I'm interested for you to play it and let me know your thoughts on it, especially the story, because I know it's in the story and I know you. And this might not be something we would probably do on camera, but we could have a talk about it and what you thought of the story. I will tell you right now that my only issue with the game, and it's not story, it's not spoiler related, it's none of that, is that you in The Last of Us, the first one, you switch characters from time to time, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so in the second one, you do the same thing. You switch characters from time to time, but you
Hmm.
also you build up skills with each character. You get items with each character,
Hmm.
and my only issue is that you get all this stuff built up on one character and you switch over and you have like nothing on this other character. So it's like you have none of the utilities you had. It's almost like, oh, you got superpowers and now you don't. So you're starting over. And this is like middle of the story. So that's my only issue with it. I mean, it's not a showstopper. It's just kind of like, oh, come on, guys. Come on.
Well, The Witcher does that when you switch between Geralt and Ciri. I mean, it's one of those where you're like, oh, I have all of this, and then when you go to Ciri, all you have is her ability to bounce around real quick, and that's it.
Yeah,
And
and that drives me crazy when you're that far in
yes,
the game and you're so used to
I
mechanics.
yes, I can get that part, but as long as that part doesn't break the story, I mean, I'm okay with it.
That
I mean,
no, that part is done because of the story, so it makes sense why they do it story
okay,
wise. It
okay,
just it's it's like, okay, I have a bow, so
hmm,
I can kill him silently with that, and then I can put a silencer on my pistol and kill him silently with that, or I can sneak up on him. Well, then you switch to this other character and you don't have a bow, you don't get the silencer right off the bat, so all you can do is do the sneak and try to clear out the room. And you're at a part in the game where there's a lot more going on than with the beginning, where it's like more like tutorial, and you don't have all your utilities. It makes it. I mean, I'm I'm not struggling with the game, but it does make it where like I'm missing my toolkit.
yeah, I mean, that's always going to be the frustrating part. But you know, being that I haven't played it, I really don't know. But like with The Witcher, not having the same inventories part, well, that's fine because they're geographically separated.
Yeah,
Not having the same abilities. Well,
they're different
Geralt's a
characters.
Witcher and Ciri is not a Witcher, so she wouldn't have certain things. So like that, I can kind of get behind. Um, but if it kind of like breaks the game or the feel or the story, then I'm kind of like, yeah, that was wonky. But
No,
I don't know.
it's all due
I'm
to the
really
story.
curious to play it now that you've kind of brought that stuff up because, like I said, this game came and just blew by. Like I didn't even. I've been so, you know,
Yeah,
oblivious to stuff
everything.
going on. Yeah, just because I'm too much sensory stuff going on with everything else in the world. I'm trying to find motivation to do other stuff. Or other activities, and it's just like, ugh, too much. So
Too many distractions. I get you.
yeah, too many distractions. So
So
once things settle down, yeah, I'm gonna set down and play this because again,
I should be done this
I
week, so we can maybe meet up this weekend or something, and I can give you the disc to borrow.
well, I'm heading out of town, so I'm going to see my daughter. So I
Oh,
won't be here
well,
next week for the show. I don't. I will be in transit back to
all right.
Arizona. So we'll talk about that later. So
Well, yeah, well, good for you. I'm glad you get to go see your daughter. You haven't
yeah,
seen her in a bit, so well,
yeah,
a
yeah.
bit, a month, right?
Well, I mean, she lives with us, but she's with grandma and grandpa.
Right.
So,
Well, yeah,
this
but
is our midsummer to go visit her. She's really having a good time. She'll get on the phone. She'll be like, "Hi, mommy. Hi, daddy," and then she's done. Then she's
yeah.
like, I'm gonna go hang out with grandpa because grandpa's cool."
Well, the
So,
grandparents spoil them, right? That's the way it
yeah,
is.
yeah,
That's their right.
yeah.
So,
So, but again, I will play this just because the first one was absolutely fantastic, and I'm hoping this one meets or exceeds what I have in my head where it should fall.
I will say that most of the gameplay gripes that I had about things being wonky from the first one, they're gone. I haven't really noticed any of that at all. If I want to do something, I feel like I can do it as long as, the thing that I'm sneaking up on doesn't turn around or something. Those kind of
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
So I mean, yeah, it doesn't feel like there's any unforgiving things like that in the game, like there wasn't the first one. So I think you'll enjoy it.
So it's one of those games that it's like, please be good, please be good. It was like the last Mass Effect when you with the Wayfinder, you were like, please be good, and then you were like, okay, it was kind of good, but
It could have
not
been
as good
better.
as three. It could have
No,
been better. Could
could
have
have been
been
better.
better. Could have been better.
All right, so let's move on to the next one.
Sure.
Dying Light Hellraid DLC announced. So this is kind of what they put out on their page. No one knows where the strange arcade machine came from. One day, the residents of the tower just found it in the basement after an odd power outage. They took it upstairs, unaware that their find is a gateway to another realm. Shake up your Dying Light experience by using this eerie device to access completely new game. Sorry, I got to scroll over a little bit on my thing. It's not getting all the words. Completely new game mode based on Techland's unleashed first-person fantasy slasher Hellraid. Prove your skills in intense, rewarding runs through the demon-infested dungeons. Pick up bounties for additional prizes as you revisit the fortress. Improve your Hellraid rank to access new weapons you can also wield outside of the Infernal Realm. So you can play this alone or co-op with up to 4 people. So I was watching a video on it. I thought it was kind of horde mode, but it doesn't. It might not be. It's just had a lot of bad guys on the screen, and they were all hell based. Skeletons, demons, the likes.
Yeah, I haven't played a lot of or even played Dying Light, so I don't know about that one. So
I have. It's a decent game. Not really my cup of tea, but I found it interesting, especially because this game's been out 5 years at this point, and they're still making DLC for it. So that's pretty interesting.
yeah, it's definitely been out a while, and it's still pulling in players, which is surprising, with all of the other type of games out there that are the similar genre. But again, that's just one I haven't picked up. It's like I've seen it, been interested, but never really picked it up. There's always been something else to play.
Yeah, I'm sure it's got a still has a huge following. Otherwise, they wouldn't be making DLC. So,
Yes.
all right, on to the next game about Denizen from Hell. If you want to take that one.
So, QuakeCon is going online in August. So, the convention's back, just a new format. So, instead of being in person, it's going to be QuakeCon at home. With everything going on, of course, since our previous episodes before we took our little break, with the coronavirus and whatnot, basically, they canceled all of these conventions. I'm glad to see that they're picking them up just in a different format because during this break, BlizzCon also announced their postpone or cancellation of this year's BlizzCon. I wish they would have done type of this format, but that's okay. So, yeah, we will have QuakeCon in August. It's just going to be from home, streamed. So,
Yeah,
uh,
it seems like most of the ones that are still going to happen are all going to be digital, live
yeah,
streaming type deals.
I mean,
So
I wish, like I said, I wish BlizzCon would have done something like that. Just instead of having all of us there at the Anaheim Convention Center, just instead said, "Hey, we're still gonna do something, but we're not gonna be here. No one will be here in person." So I don't know because I really wanted to get more, try to get my hands on some more Diablo 4. So
yeah, there's some news on that. I think, if I'm not
there
mistaken.
is, there is, but it is basically just mm, alpha stuff, beta stuff.
Yeah.
I still haven't got my key to get in yet. I'm on the list, so I'm just waiting for Blizzard. They usually always give me a key at some point,
Well,
so
until
I'm
they
just
go
waiting.
beta, I don't think they're gonna give
I've had
anybody.
some alpha keys in the past, so
Mhm.
not for this game, of course. They're being really stingy with them, but
Well, I don't think that it's at a playable state now. They're still play testing and stuff like that. But we'll get
yeah.
to that. All right. So our next article is Bounty of Blood Borderlands 3 DLC is out. Posted on June 25th, out on the official Borderlands 3 page. Out now, Bounty of Blood. Bounty of Blood, the third campaign add-on for Borderlands 3 is available now. This release coincides with a free level cap increase. That doesn't make sense. A free level cap increase that raises the maximum Vault Hunter level to 60. I guess it makes sense. Vault Hunters mount up. The sheriff of Vestige on the frontier planet of, I'm going to butcher this name, Gehenna, has issued a bounty on the Devil Riders gang, and it's time to collect. So basically, if you guys got the deluxe version or whatever, the one with like the season pass like stuff, this will be there. It's another expansion type deal where you go to this planet and you do things to get better loot, the typical Borderlands 3 stuff. What I found interesting was they were upping the level to 60, so that means I got to go back in and grind some levels if I want to max my character out. But
well, again, we got to go back at some point and play. Like, I still haven't finished playing it. It's one of those that there was other stuff out at the time. It's a good game. It really is. It's a lot of fun to play. It doesn't give me a headache like the previous versions did. So, yeah. I really like the game. It's just
let me know when you want to jump in there, and we'll get you to the end. You know me, I'm past the end doing all that.
Oh yeah, you're way past
that grinding.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this next one you have listed here, I read about that, but I didn't put it in here, so I'm glad you did. If you want to go ahead and jump on that.
Sure. Fable and Perfect Dark accounts have been registered on Twitter, and they might be official. While
they are official.
We don't know that. They might be.
No, Microsoft has commented, but I'll let you.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, where am I at? Okay, so there's no confirmed Fable or anything at this point. They're basically, it looks like, and has followed like other games have in the past. They set up the social media stuff, and then once they have something to show, boom, it's right there. So, I'm hoping with the upcoming E3, for the next year, they might have something to show us. But yeah, it's looking like, and with me being a huge Fable fan, like I love Fable.
I can see
I'm kind of excited. Yeah, I love Fable, dude. I really do. It started off with like being the chicken kicker in the first one and moving all the way on up. Like. I mean, come on, man. You have to love Fable. I mean, if you like the sword and the hero and making choices to be good or evil, you have to like Fable. I mean, it's just basically, it's a good game. Kind of cartoony graphics, but it's got a good heart behind the game. But I was excited to read this only due to the fact that there was a Fable game that was being produced in the past, and then they just tanked it, So I'm hoping this is them trying to revitalize that story, and I think Microsoft owns Fable now, so hopefully they actually do something with it.
All right, so I was reading this, and then I also read a tweet from Microsoft that basically said they're sorry to get your hopes up, but they didn't say that you were wrong in getting your hopes up. So all they said was, hey, we're sorry that you Perfect Dark fans and your Fable fans that we got your hopes up. We have nothing to announce at this time, type of deal. Well, I don't know if you're aware of this, but sometime in July, and I don't remember the date, they're supposed to do their Xbox Series X show, which it would have been their E3, but they wanted to wait until after Sony did theirs for the PlayStation 5 so that they could adjust and do whatever they felt necessary to make theirs better.
Competitive.
So I think it might be in the early stages for both of these games, but I would, going back to that my phrase, everybody's gonna think it's my phrase, I would not be surprised if they had some kind of announcement when they do this show about Fable and Perfect Dark. And it might be remasters, it might be the next in the series, and it could be just a logo. Oh yeah, could you imagine
I'd
the
be
next Fable? That'd be awesome.
completely, oh, the next Fable, but I'd also be completely happy with a reboot of the previous Fables to current gen or next gen support, just because it's like, if you play Fable now, the original one, it's like graphics are so bad compared to today's graphics, but the game is still good. So you're like, I'll play it for nostalgia. But if they could up it, I think it would do well. I mean, it's just we've proven that people will buy old games if revamped just to play them on the newer platform. So if that's it, I mean, I can totally support that. But I would prefer a Fable 4. Just saying. So
Well, just so you know that they did make Fable Anniversary Xbox One X enhanced, which means that it's still the old graphics, but they enhanced them to 4K. So it's not a remake from a scratch, but it does look better in 4K. So,
maybe we'll
but
see.
you don't
My
have an
thing,
Xbox now, do you?
no, I don't have an Xbox.
So
Just the PlayStation.
just a PS.
But my trusty PC is what I spend most of my time on. So
I still can't get away from my console. There's too many exclusives.
that's I. We've talked about this before. I hate exclusives. I wish it. I understand why they do them. I totally understand why they do them. It's like I'm a PC person. You know, about the time of EverQuest is when I kind of left platform and went to PC. And I've kind of just stayed there. I mean, I'll bounce back for gaming and whatnot, but I prefer it on a PC. Just especially games like Red Dead Redemption, all that. It's so much easier to play
Shooters,
on a
definitely,
PC.
definitely shooters.
Definitely, yeah. So, but I don't know, man. I'm just
Well, this is what it's going to come down to. They're starting to put some of these exclusive, at least Sony is, on Steam and whatnot. I don't know. I don't know. 'Cause we haven't been doing stories and stuff, but Persona 4 Golden, which was typically a Sony only game. They had it on the Vita. They had it on
mhm.
older versions of PlayStation. Um, that came out on Steam. We got Horizon Zero Dawn coming out on Steam
Looking forward to
later.
that one. Yeah, looking
Uh,
forward to that one.
Death Stranding. So they're doing it.
Hmm.
So what it's going to
Yep.
depend on if we get more of these exclusives that are, for the consoles is if these sell. If these sell, I bought Persona 4 Golden just because it has a little bit of graphics and everything, and I was like, it's $20. I love the game. Why not? I'm gonna show my support and I'll play through it again. I'm debating on doing a guide or not. The Persona 5 Royal was quite daunting to do that as a guide and keep it going, but
Yeah.
it also got good results, so I might do Persona 4 Golden. But anyways, back to what I was saying. If these exclusives get sales on Steam and whatnot, and I believe they're going to release Halo on Steam and as well, then we will start to see more exclusives go to PC because that doesn't really directly affect who they consider their competitors are. It just helps them their sales. So
Well, yeah. I mean, if I could get all of the exclusives solely to a PC, because that's what I am as a PC gamer, I could go, all right, I'm done with the console market, other than I like having a controller that I can use, but that's when I play, but that's fine. I mean, I have my trusty, PlayStation or my Xbox controller next to my PC, so I'm good.
yeah,
But
it's easy to get a
it's
controller.
yeah, so my thing is, it's like, all right, just put it out on PC as well. I mean, if you develop it side by side, and it's doesn't add that much to your creation and development time. So it's when you decide to do it after the fact, you got to go back and redo it. But that's just me. I mean, I am pretty much solely a PC guy, except for exclusives. That's usually what will get me to buy a console, is which one's going to have the exclusive I really want. So like when it came to the PlayStation, it was like God of War, where it's like, okay, you got me. There is no God of War on PC. There is no Last of Us on PC. So
Or
you know,
Xbox. Yeah,
well, whatever. But
yeah.
I'm just saying,
I'm
yeah.
with you. I'm with you. So the next one is about a game that I hope has a dual launch on PC and consoles. The last game in the series did not. We had to wait. I don't know how long for it to come out on console. But anyways, Diablo 4 quarterly updates. So on June 25th, Blizzard released an update for Diablo 4's development, and highlights are as follows. I'll try to keep this short because I know we're running long.
Okay.
A couple of things things have evolved with how we deliver story in Diablo 4. First, we have conversations. In D3, relied on UI panels with the character's name and portraits. We're experimenting with a mix of generated and manually choreographed cameras to tackle conversations. So they're trying to be more immersive in their conversations.
Yes.
The second storytelling method we are developing is real-time cutscenes. So we all love the Diablo cutscenes, Blizzard cutscenes. So hopefully we get some more of those. One of the main features we are bringing to the Diablo series is open world of Sanctuary. So while you can concentrate on the story campaign and work through that, we have a variety of open world systems and pieces of content that you are also discovering along the way. So we kind of saw this in their last BlizzCon where they showed the open world and they talked about the different things they were going to have. So it'll be definitely interesting to see how that works. They're trying to fine tune the multiplayer aspect in it, and they're really working on the weapons and the affixes that go along with them and the itemization philosophies. They're trying to beef that up and make it better. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. They did have some more pictures of some of the development screenshots. So if you want to see those, go to the Blizzard page, Diablo 4 page, and check those out. And I think that it is on the actual quarterly report that they put out, so you'll have to look for that. But if you go to news, it should be there. So
Looks good. It looks like it's shaping up to be a good game. Like I said, I got to play. I got to play the playable portion at the last BlizzCon. It was good, really good. And that's pretty much what sold me on it. And then some of the changes, being darker, like that was one of the things where with the last Diablos, it wasn't quite dark enough. And when you're dealing with like Diablo and the Lords of Hell, you want it to be like, this is not where I feel safe. But that's always been Diablo, and you wanting it on a console. This game was never meant to be a console game. It was. I mean, the original ones are always PC based.
I play it on. Okay, you got to understand. Most people don't know this. I love Diablo 3. I have it. I got it on the PlayStation 4. I didn't get the Eternal Edition or whatever they call that, the later one, but I got it on PS4, and then later I got it on the Xbox because I wanted to play with my kids, and I actually had to buy multiple copies there. But then I did get the higher up version, the Eternal Edition, and all that. But I also had it on PC from day one, so Diablo is one of my games, man. It doesn't matter that whole series. I've played them all to death. And I will probably play 4 to death. So I'm real excited about it. I'm hoping that it is everything we want it to be, and they actually expand upon the idea of what Diablo is. And going open world has me nervous, but at the same time, that might be the next step.
Well, that needs to be the next step. I mean, you need to evolve. If this game is to keep going, you've got to evolve it past being just a dungeon crawler.
Well,
it's got to be. You've got to dive deeper into the story. You got to fill it in. I mean, you've got to bring more to it. How many times can we kick Diablo's ass? That's when they brought in Lilith. The original evil. So it's one of those things where it's like the open world needed to come at some point. just had to expand, or the game was just going to go by the wayside. I mean, at least that's my personal opinion on it. I mean, granted, they could ramped up the graphics, cranked it up, made it harder, and still left it as a dungeon crawler. But would it do as well as what 3 had done? Had they not changed a few things? And I mean, 3 was a good stumbling block. They learned, you don't need the real money marketplace and all of that other crap that, like, I was against that from the moment I heard it. But
Yeah,
again, I
didn't
mean,
end well at all.
I I like that they don't always have the same classes available in every one of them. It's basically like, okay, you don't have the Necro in all of them. I mean, granted, they brought him back as an afterthought in 3, but originally he wasn't really. They were saying that, yeah, he's not going to be here. You're going to have to deal with the Demon Hunter instead.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I still miss my
so
druid. That's all I'm saying.
like I said, I'll figure out what it is I'm gonna play. I played the Druid in at BlizzCon, and I really enjoyed it.
Well, the druid they
But
have there doesn't play like the druid from 2, so
no, but I kind of like how this guy plays. I really do like how it plays. But I mean, again, it's one of those. I mean, you're not gonna see the Crusader or any of that other stuff. I mean, you'll probably see the Mage and the Barbarian.
yeah,
But
they're staples.
yeah, but the Necro and all of that, I don't know if they'll be there or not. But it I'm excited for it, just as you and I have talked. Even 3 is still very playable. We're talking about doing the next season in 3, and hopefully streaming it and seeing how far we could get. But it's a game that can keep building on. They just got to do it well, and
So let
I
me
think
ask
they
you a
can do it.
question here. What action RPG in the vein of Diablo have you seen with an open world? A true open world.
There hasn't been any,
There's been
but
one,
what's that?
Sacred 2, and it's one of my
Oh,
favorite games of all
I
time.
haven't played Sacred, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, Sacred is one of my favorite series. I was kind of sad that it went away because the company broke up or whatever, but I love Sacred 2 in its open world, and I kept waiting for them to release it on backwards compatibility so I could run through it again on my better Xbox, but it never happened. It was on the list. It was supposed to happen, but then they just kind of stopped doing backwards compatibility. Yeah, it's one of the first games that I played with the purpose of getting every achievement in the game on my Xbox.
That's hard to do.
But
I
I
think the
did it.
last I think the last time I have to get every achievement on it was Force Awaken or Force no, for the one where Vader has an apprentice, Force Unleashed, I think. Was that it? Force Unleashed? Yeah, that was
Yeah, I
it.
think that's it.
Yeah, and that was the last time I actually ground out all of the achievements. So that's a long time ago. I mean, I am not an achievement whore anymore like I used to be back in. I still do it a little bit in WoW, but um, yeah, I'm not an achievement hunter anymore.
I'm not either. There is some games that I want to do it just to show my appreciation for them, but other than that, I could care less. Like I got my first platinum trophy just today with Persona 5 Royal. My first
Nice.
platinum. With all the games that I play on that, I got my first platinum. It's crazy. So, all right, on to the next one. Somebody's doubling down on something.
Sure. So EA, Electronic Arts, plans to double down on Star Wars. So their CEO Andrew Wilson basically said that they have a great relationship with Disney. It hasn't always been. Uh, it's been rocky, especially when they signed the exclusive, whatever, big exclusive when it comes to making their games. Granted, that made me mad because they killed off one of my favorite MMOs in light of it to create another MMO that tanked. However, um, some of their games haven't done so well when it came to EA's games when it came to the Star Wars universe. But as we have seen, how Squadrons was kind of leaked out, and then they followed it up by actually releasing the news on it. They're gonna keep pushing out the games when it comes to the Star Wars universe. I mean, they did well with Jedi Fallen Order. I mean, granted, I know you didn't like some of the play style on it and whatnot. I enjoyed the story of
Game
Fallen.
game design decisions is what got me on that one.
Well, yeah, you didn't like the jump puzzles and all of
I
that,
can deal with
but
those. What I didn't like was going to the end of a long area, and the only way back is to trek all the way back. That's the part that annoyed
yeah,
me.
that was some of the complaints, and some of it. I mean, you could find if you got to the end and by getting to the end, if you did something, you could unlock a shortcut,
Yeah, but even
and
most shortcuts didn't take you right back to the beginning though. They took you
no,
back
what the
to
shortcuts did was lead you to another advancement in the story, but it was still a shortcut back to your ship or whatever it was. And
wasn't
I can, I could get that was a pain. I really didn't enjoy a lot of that. I did like the story, which at some point you and I will have to do some lore on this, how this fits into Star Wars and all of that. But going back to the story is basically with some of the success they've had, they're gonna basically leverage this. I think E3 or EA doesn't. I think they're gonna be basically start to tailor a lot of these upcoming games to be Star Wars related. Um,
Squadron looks pretty good.
Squadron looks really good. I'm not the. I was really surprised because like I haven't played any of the Battlefronts, the two new ones. I just the loot boxy stuff is what got me with the other ones. Like, had it not been so loot boxy, I'd have been like, dude, I'm all about trying to play Vader, But the fact that it was all loot boxish, I was like, you lost me at that. Like Fallen Order didn't have any of that, so because there was no online mode, there was no need to loot box it. But my thing is if they can fill that MMO gap better, and not just have, you
So
know,
going back to the MMO, EA
hmm
didn't kill the first one you liked because that was Sony Online Interactive.
okay, but that's when EA took over the contract. They were basically told to turn off
But that would have been
SWG.
Disney's decision, right? Not EA's.
Disney told them to. Disney pulled their support behind it, and when Disney pulled their support behind it, Sony had to turn it off
Yeah, and Disney does
because what was
that a
happening
lot.
is Sony gave or Disney gave EA the rights to do the MMO, and then that's when they came up with the Old Republic, and the Old Republic's fine. It's still making expansions. It's still doing okay. I still play it probably once a year around the Christmas time for the Christmas event. But it's not something I stick with. I don't raid in it. I just basically I have a one high level character and I get all the stuff done on him, and then while I'm waiting for my subscription to fail out, I play another character and level it up.
Yeah,
But I
that's
like the story behind it. It's just I they lost me at some point on it, and they didn't do well at supporting the story. And that's where if you're gonna do anything in the Star Wars universe, especially with someone like me who Star Wars is almost a religion for me. Like, like it's one of those things where it's like I know a lot about that. I can tell you what fits with canon, what doesn't. I don't like what Disney did with canon, where basically canon was like this thick, and Disney was like, nope, and now you got a book that thick. You know, but you know, uh, I think EA will do well if they keep working on and making better and better games. I just Battlefront probably won't be for me. I just I don't know. Get rid of the loot boxes and it could be.
they tailored the loot boxes away from the progression, so it's a little better, but it's still there. And it's
It's still there, yeah.
this isn't the first game Disney's canceled either by switching their licenses.
Oh, of course they killed the bounty hunter one, which I was totally 100% behind.
They also killed Marvel Heroes Omega.
Yeah. Well, no,
And
they
I
didn't
played.
kill that.
Yeah, they
They
did.
basic Disney just pulled they
That
wanted
killed it.
the here. Well, that killed it. But I'm saying Fox or whoever owns whoever does Marvel, which I think is Fox, right? they could have kept pushing forward with their portion of it, but it wouldn't have done well with Disney pulling their support behind it. But now, I mean, EA has basically the sole contract on Star Wars. So
Yeah,
when it comes
we'll
to
have to
gaming wise,
see. EA likes those exclusive contracts like NFL and
oh, of course. I
all those
mean,
ones. NHL, don't they have that one too? I don't know all the
oh,
other ones, but
they have almost all of the sports ones.
they don't have basketball, but they might have
No, they
baseball.
I think they have baseball,
No,
hockey, and
because there's the
foosball.
MLB, the show, so they can't have that one.
Uh, I don't know if
So
they have hockey then.
they might have. That's the only hockey game I've seen forever is the NHL ones. So, all right. While you look that up, I'm going to go into the next
Yeah,
article. Tales of
sure.
Arise delayed. As you may have already seen, this is from their page. As you may have already seen in media stories and on our social media channels, we have made a decision to delay the launch of Tales of Arise, the latest title in the Tales of series. The goal for Tales of Arise is to provide a familiar but innovative gameplay experience to fans of the series, while pushing the while pushing the technical envelope to deliver a high level of graphical quality to impress both longtime players and those who have never played Tales of games. Development on the title has moved steadily forward in 2020 as we overcome challenges along the way. While COVID 19 has affected some aspects of development, we've done our best to adapt to the situation and have implemented remote deployment capabilities for our team. However, to achieve the quality and provide the gorgeous experience we envision for our players, we need more time to realize that vision, and therefore we decided to delay the launch timing for Tales of Arise. They don't have a new window yet. They're going to share that later. I don't know if you guys have seen the video for the new Tales game. It is markedly beyond the graphics of the last game that they did. It is so gorgeous. I mean, it's like almost cel shaded in the sense of like Zelda or something, but just better. It is just so nice to look at. So I understand they're probably had to either modify their engine or change their engine altogether to do this new game. It's open world. It's going to be leaps and bounds beyond the last Tales game, which was Tales of Berseria. I can't remember the last one. It might be Berseria. It might be another one. So yeah, have you played any of the Tales game? Probably not. They're not really up your
No,
alley of games.
yeah, I'm not usually into those, but I was just looking up some of the artwork on it and some of the gameplay still footage. It is pretty. It really is. It's just that style of game usually does. I mean, Final Fantasy is about as far into that genre of games as I usually get. It's it's I keep getting told that it's something I should try, but it's one of those where it's like, maybe one day. But right now, I've got other stuff I'm playing. So,
Yeah, there's all kinds of
um,
sales on the Tales of games all the time. So if you could get one of them cheap and you want to try it out, it's an open world RPG and its combat's usually action based in a confined area. So um, the last one had added verticality to it. I don't think it added it to a degree that they wanted. I think that's kind of why they went to the newer style. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm excited for it when it comes out. I'll definitely play it. And yeah, that's that. Speaking of games we're excited for, well, you're not excited for Tales, but this next one we're
oh yeah,
both excited for. Go ahead.
oh yeah. Cyberpunk 2070. I mean, unfortunately, it's not a great story, but Cyberpunk 2077 delays will push back the DLC and multiplayer mode. So while we were taking our little break from doing the show, CD Projekt Red announced that it was getting pushed back from its September pushback date to now November 19th. And unfortunately, with the pushback and then the pushback, the DLC and the multiplayer mode are also getting pushed back as well. But that's common sense for me. Like you're not going to have the DLC, right there if everything else gets pushed back. So um, it's unfortunate, but again, it's coming out around the holiday season, so that again, that's something that I usually take time off for. And with this year, with everything going on, I got a shit ton of PTO that I got to burn this year. So,
You and me both.
yeah, I'm gonna have to burn it, and I might do it just for this because it's a game I'm really excited for. Like, I don't know if I've been this excited for a game in a long time. So, I definitely hope it lives up to its hype because I will be extremely disappointed if this game falls flat. But everything I have seen, like I follow it pretty religiously. Like I'm watching a lot of the videos, listening to them talk about it, and it looks good, looks real good.
Everybody
So,
that I've heard that talks about this game because they got to play it,
mm-hmm.
they love it. I haven't heard any complaints about it at all.
And that I'm so like CD Projekt Red puts out good stuff. I mean, they really do. I mean, they take their time to create a good game, which when I first heard of them, I really didn't think they would, be around this long, or put out games like this. But like I thought the Joker or the Witcher was going to be a joke. Like I had no clue how good the Witcher was going to be until I played Witcher 3, and I was like, oh man, this is amazing. Then I went back and played the other two, and I'm like, these are just as good. Great story. So this is going to be pretty much a great story. Good gameplay, um, customization through the roof. Like, like there's some customization that we really can't even talk about on here without getting the mature stamp on it.
Yeah.
There's so much customization
Oh, you mean your
that
nether regions? I heard about that.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
there is plenty of choices for
Pubic
this.
hair. Like I ever
Yes,
thought I
yeah,
would be like
yeah, yes,
modifying
that's
my pubic hair. Like really?
yes, but that is one of them on there that I was like, really? Okay, so obviously there's going to be some scenes where that comes into play. I mean, we already knew sex, gore, drug use, all of that stuff, but I didn't know it was going to be like that.
That.
But I mean, so CD Projekt Red has had some good sex scenes in The Witcher, so I mean, I guess I should have been like, oh, duh, there's going to probably be some decent ones in Cyberpunk, but again, it just goes to show like they really put in a lot of detail into their games, and it's again, I think the hype is kind of warranted. So we just unfortunately got to wait till November to get our hands on it.
All right. So there's a couple things that I want to bring up, and the first one is I'm reading this and it says we prefer to call them expansion as they're bigger than typical DLC. I like
Yes,
that.
yes.
That make it bigger, make it more, make it substantial, make it worth the money you're going to spend on it for
So,
sure.
oh yeah, and I mean, so if you look at their DLCs that they did with The
Oh,
Witcher,
they're
they were
large.
huge. They
Yeah.
were huge expansions. So it there were games out there where they put out DLC and you were like, wow, that was like all of like a couple hours if you were lucky. No, these guys are actually putting some work into it, which I'm excited for. I mean, I really wish I could beta this, just
Yeah, I don't think they're doing that.
no, they're not going to hand you an IR beta key, but I mean, it's like, I mean, if it were being produced by like Ubisoft, I'd probably get a key for it because I usually get a key for anything Ubisoft does, or Blizzard I usually do, but I haven't seen anything for CD Projekt Red. So
No,
again,
and
this is one that I'll be going into completely blind. So
we're not big
um,
enough for it yet. Yet. We're
not
getting there.
yet,
We're
not
getting
yet.
there.
Getting
We're
there.
getting there.
One of these days.
One of these days. All right, so that was the first thing that I wanted to bring up. The second thing I wanted to
Sure.
bring up is the date. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I fully believe that this is the date almost to a T or around the new consoles launching. And if I was to say which console, it would be the Xbox One because I think CD Projekt Red is partnered with Microsoft. They already did it with the console that the Cyberpunk 2077 Xbox One X console, right? I think that they partnered with them for the Xbox Series X. I don't know if they're going to have a console day one or a console at all for it, but I believe that they are pushing this date back to match that and to give them some more time to develop it. But I think that when this comes out, you'll have the Xbox One console. So they'll be able to say this is a release window game for the new consoles. And I think the PlayStation 5 is going to come out right around that time too.
I mean, if they're going to sell this year, then they need to come out in November to give people time to purchase them for the holiday season. So,
Exactly.
I mean, again, it's fortuitous that everything got pushed back. I mean, not really, because I was looking to get. I think we had already had our hands on it, but yeah, had it and had this stupid virus not happened. But again, I can wait till to November. It's
When it comes out, it's going to be game of the year. I don't think there's anything that's came out, even The Last of Us or any of the other games that have come out so far this year, are going to be able to compete with this.
Oh no, I mean it's. I don't think CD Projekt Red has gotten a Game of the Year yet, but this should be the first one they get.
The Witcher
I
3 didn't
mean,
get any game of the year. They at least
I don't
got
think CD Projekt
nominated.
Red's ever received. I don't think they have just ever received one.
Well, they're standing pretty to get this one. They're
Yeah,
in the batter's
I mean, I
box
could
with
be
that
wrong.
ball coming nice and slow down the lane. They just gotta hit it out of the park, and then
I mean,
game of the year everywhere.
I could be wrong, and I'm sure if I am, people will correct me on it. But I don't think like The Witcher 3 got Game of the Year or any of that. So,
I'm sure
well, it was.
some outlet gave it to, but none of the major outlets.
Well, I mean, there's pretty much only like two or three that really qualify as I have the Game of the Year for like IGN or whatever when it comes to that type of stuff. So,
Yeah.
but th- this is lining up to be a good one. So it shouldn't be very hard for them to clinch it this year.
Yeah, you're probably right. I hope so. All right, on to another game that's delayed, and I'm only bringing this up because I know there's some people out there that I know that are interested in this game, and it was already delayed once, so it's happening again. Fairy Tale delayed again. Producer Kikuchi, I'm sorry if I butchered your name, not on purpose, commented, "I'm truly sorry for Fairy Tale's delay and the inconvenience caused to our fans, partners, and stakeholders who are looking forward to this title. Please allow us to take further time to polish the game to ensure it is as high quality as possible so we can offer you a truly immersive experience. We will be working hard to enhance the magical effects, event scene effects, improving the game balance, and more. We will talk about the improvements in more detail in coming months. The delay will allow us to ensure we provide you as a much more satisfying game. Thank you for your understanding." The new release date are July 30th in Europe, and Japan is July 30th in Europe and Japan, July 31st in North America. So they're added about a month to it because it was supposed to come out. That can't be the new release date, is it? Because I thought that's when they changed it to. I hope that's accurate. If it's not accurate, let us know in the comments. Fix it. Correct us. So, right. Something that we played the other night.
Yes, so Division 2 Season 2 is underway. So again with the expansion Warlords of New York and Keener's Legacy, we're now tasked with taking out a new cell, which is Hornet's Cell. Basically, I didn't finish the first season. I couldn't get past. It progressively got too hard for me to solo. But with this season, it's like the previous season. There is a season pass. Which everyone gets the regular season stuff, and then you can purchase a premium pass, which is additional stuff. There are two new exotics, I think, some variants, and some gear sets. But basically, we started it, and I think I played it a little bit the other day to try to navigate around and figure out, in case we did go back and knock out at least some of those other points that we
Yeah.
didn't do the first night, because we got sidetracked in the detention center, which was not my intent. But
No, but we wanted the stuff.
yeah, we got our
So.
backpack trophy. But again, it's a new season, and then so I think every other week you'll be taking down one of the agents in his cell, and on the off week there is some event to do. So like one of them was like a polarity thing in the last season, which I did not enjoy, the polarity one where you had a certain polarity and the bad guys had an opposite polarity, or if they had an opposite polarity, it was you did more damage to them, and if they had the same polarity as you, it took longer and you got shocked, and I really just despised that. But there were other things like ignite people on fire, which I was completely okay with, which was really easy. I just pulled out firewall and went to town. But no, it's shaping up to be a good season from what I'm looking at. So um, if you guys play the Division 2, I didn't play the first season, this would be a good season to get into and see what's going on with it.
Yeah, we might stream some more of this. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, yeah,
Speaking
no
of
doubt.
streaming,
Yeah.
Mixer is shutting down. So Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, on June 22nd, posted this, bringing more players into our gaming vision. So he spun it a little bit to make it more positive, but it's not so much positive. For us at Xbox, the player is at the center of the gaming experience always. It is our responsibility to make sure great games and related experience go to meet. Oh man, these new glasses are throwing me off. I got to be a certain. I'm getting used to the right angle. They're like bifocals, but anyways,
I
uh,
follow.
progressive. What do you want to call it?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
I get it.
all right. It's our responsibility to make sure great games and related experience go to meet players wherever they are. Our priority and focus is on the world class content being made by our 15 Xbox game studios, the evolution of Game Pass, the launch of the Xbox Series X, and the global opportunity to play anywhere with Project xCloud. Bringing that vision to life for as many people as possible, we'll see us working with different partners, platforms, and communities for years to come. It will also see us adjusting our strategy to best serve players wherever they gather daily, which includes the category of live streaming. We're grateful for the collective work from the Mixer community in creating a welcoming, supportive, and positive place from day one. Ultimately, the success of partners and streamers on Mixer is dependent on the ability to scale the service for them as quickly and broadly as possible. It becomes clear that the time needed to grow our own live streaming community to scale was out of measure with the vision and experience we want to deliver to gamers now. So we decided to close the operations side of Mixer and help the community transition to a new platform. To better serve our community's needs, we're teaming up with Facebook to enable the Mixer community to transition to Facebook gaming. Starting on July 22nd, all Mixer sites and apps will redirect users to Facebook gaming. For Mixer partners, streamers, and viewers, we expect you'll have many questions. You can find more details on how we will support the transition to Facebook gaming on the Mixer blog. It's a mouthful.
Yes.
But in a nutshell, they're closing Mixer and pointing Mixer to Facebook gaming, which,
That's why we're here.
well, it's part of the reason why we're here. It does affect
Yeah.
us a little bit. I still find it weird that they didn't go with Twitch or Google. I would like to know their reasoning behind going with Facebook gaming.
It's Facebook gaming's huge, and
Uh,
it's already well established.
it is like the second largest streaming platform.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I see that. I've looked at the stats. I get it. It's just, I think even more interesting. They spent all this money on Ninja and Shroud and whoever else. they get to keep the money, and they're out of their contract and can do whatever they want. So Ninja had a 3-year contract for like 30 million. That's what I've heard. I don't know how accurate that is. He streamed there for like a year, and that money was supposed to be like given to him throughout. So like 10 million a year for 3 years. Mm-hmm. He now gets the remainder of that money. So 20 million that he was going to have to do.
So that's how it was written, or
that's what's happening is what I heard.
Oh, okay.
He's now he got the 10 million for the first year that he was there. Now he's getting the remainder of what they promised him and gets out of his contract and can go back to Twitch, whatever he wants to do. I find that really interesting.
IRS ain't gonna complain because he just doubled his income from so he's gonna get hit heavy this year with a $20 million income. But
when you're that high, I think
so going back to, I don't know. I mean, going back to Twitch when he was over there, it might not be as smooth as a transition because Twitch is definitely like flooded. If you're one of those cool kids, that's where you want to be on top, and it might not be as easy. I don't know. I'm just saying that's kind of like when you and I were discussing, we were like, we may not worry about them anymore because it's so hard to carve out your sliver over there, and again over here it might not be any easier. I don't know. I'm just
it might not be easier.
Shutting down. I mean, they've got to go somewhere. Right. So where are they going to land is my question. Like, where are all these people going to go? I'm hoping to Twitch. Really hoping to Twitch. But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, a lot of them are going to end up over here. So,
well, here's the thing that I get out of Facebook gaming. After we might have to stream for like another 30 minutes or something, but then we go into their level up program and we can actually start taking star donations and that kind of stuff. So we can actually start making money relatively sooner than we could on Twitch or YouTube. So
see how quickly it actually comes to fruition. I'm just saying. I mean, yes, theoretically we can.
And I don't think
quickly it's going to happen.
Right, but I don't think Facebook limits you from going to other places either. Like if you're a partner on Twitch, you cannot stream anywhere else.
And I would be okay with that if I had a contract like that. I mean, come on. I mean, if they were saying, okay, the Gaming Watch, we're going to give you guys, each this much a year to stream over here solely, would you, I mean, me, I'd be like, done. I mean, that's fine. We're going to have our portion. We're going to solely be here. That's one less thing we got to worry about going, okay, restream here. Make sure we have all of the keys from all these other places. It's just one and done. And okay, and you just say, hey, everybody, we'll post it on Facebook when we're going to stream and come click the link, and that's it. Done. I'm cool with that. I really am, but unfortunately we're not that big. So,
yeah, we're getting there. We're climbing.
We're working on it. But, again, it's like, I don't know where they went wrong with Mixer. I mean, I don't know if they didn't expect it to be as big or if it became a resource hog or again, with like some companies when COVID happened, they had to start hacking and slashing and, this is too much of an expenditure, bye-bye Mixer. I don't know if it was that either, but,
well, maybe, and I said this when YouTube did the same type of thing. YouTube went out like a month or two after Ninja joined Mixer, and they grabbed 2 or 3 streamers from Twitch and put money into them. And I was like, the problem with these companies is they're putting money into these big streamers and bringing them over when they could just invest less of that money in the smaller streamers to build them up and help them out to build their platform and their community.
Why? I mean,
well,
why? I mean, if
Ninja bring over all those people? No, a lot of people left left him behind. They said if you're
Well,
going over
oh
there,
yeah.
so he
Well,
maybe had half of his community, if
well,
that.
he had to have you had to have a subscription to watch him play,
No, you
right?
could watch him
Mixer?
play. You just no,
I thought you had to have a.
you could subscribe to him, but you didn't have to have a
Oh, okay.
subscription to.
Well, whatever. I mean, the thing is Mixer was never one of the top ones to be at. I mean, you
Right, but
wanted
I'm
to
just
be with
saying YouTube
Twitch.
did the same thing.
Oh yeah,
YouTube went out and they spent millions of dollars on these other Twitch streamers
but why
to
would
bring them
they?
over.
Why would they say, "Hey, Static Oz, we know you're struggling. We're going to give you an infusion of money to grow your channel"? Or they can go out and grab a big name guy and bring in his views
Well,
with them and grow it
I'm
that
not
way.
talking
I
about
mean,
necessarily small like us. There is some guys that have a following that get thousands of people in their streams every time they do it. If they would have invested in them, maybe gave them some marketing or something, I think it would have helped the platform. The problem is if you hear about a big name streamer, the only time you hear about them on other platforms is when the other platform is paid for them to come over. You hear about that, and then you don't hear about it anymore. Unless you're on that platform, you'll see things for Ninja and stuff on Mixer when he was on when was going, and you would see like things on the front page for Ninja. But the only time you heard about him in the mainstream media was when he moved because it was big news. Other than that, you never heard about Shroud or them after that. It was just like,
oh no, yeah, yeah. It's just one of the I don't know. Streaming is such a finicky market, but I don't know. I'm still boggled as to why Mixer would be done. There's got to be something behind it. I don't know. There really has to be.
yeah, this is all like you read this. This is corporate speak. That's all
Oh
this
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. This is all just make you feel good. Oh, we're gonna we see our where we have fallen short, and to leverage this, we're gonna shunt everyone over to Facebook. And I'm like, great.
Yeah,
So
basically
now
we're
we're
not
being
abandoning anybody. We're moving them. Yeah.
yeah. Well, so great. You're moving us from Mixer over to Censor Central. You know, where it's like if if you know, and trust me, I have to like, okay, think about how I'm going to say something so that we don't get hit with it because of, you know, the way it
You
is
talking
over
about
here.
Facebook or YouTube?
Oh yeah, with Facebook, I'm just saying they censor everything, and that's been the problem. Like I have with Facebook is the censorship.
Yeah, but
Now, granted, I
we're
mean
not
we don't.
talking about political things though. So
No, but it could be anything. I mean, I'm just saying, in today's day and age, with as easy as it is to offend somebody, um, and as off the cuff as I can be sometimes, you know, it's like, well,
a little
great,
bit.
there we go. You know, so it's like, okay, now that we're solely over here now, you know, it's like, I don't know. I'm hoping it works out. I really am. I'm just like, I really was just hoping that Mixer would have held on so that we could have carved out a bigger our bigger niche over on Twitch. But
Well, we still have YouTube. We still have
we still have
Facebook. So we're
YouTube, but
gonna leverage them both.
YouTube's even harder to make a following on than Facebook is. I mean,
Yeah,
it's yeah,
that's
YouTubers are finicky.
it's
Nothing
not.
against you guys at all. I'm
I
just saying
I don't
it's
think
hard.
it's the YouTubers. I think it's YouTube in general.
Well, yeah,
They
it's their
want to force
algorithm.
you. They want to force you to pay for their advertisement. That's what they want.
Yeah, it's the algorithm.
So
It's paying for all of
you
this.
don't get up on the searches and all that stuff. You're just not gonna get people seeing you out of the blue if you're not paying for it. That's the main thing.
And that again, that's kind of my problem with it. It's like, ugh,
Facebook does the same thing though, because they're
yes,
both
that's it.
businesses. So, and you got to spend money to make money. It's just one of those things.
Oh, I liked it better back in the day, before it got before it all became corporate, and public traded. But if we can, I mean, if we can keep moving forward and keep getting more, you know, followers, it'll be all right. It's just again, another one bites the dust, and we all have to adjust and make room for everybody else.
We still are different. We still are us.
We're still
So.
different. We do the news, but we still got to compete with everybody else that does the
Well, I
news.
mean, even like the games that I'm going to be streaming moving forward are different than the typical stuff. So
Yeah, that is true. We'll see. I mean, it's going to be a learning curve again, and it
it
feels like just
already
as we
is.
get comfortable in way we're doing it, we have to then stop, step back, relearn how, figure out what we're going to do, relearn it, and then go forward without missing too many steps.
I
You
mean,
know.
just
So,
getting this stream started was like, okay,
oh my, yeah,
that's
that's
right.
like
I got to
pulling
go to
teeth.
Facebook. I got to set everything up, and then I got to click go live. So you actually got to start streaming in OBS, and then click go live on Facebook before it goes live. That's so weird to me. It's
Yeah, you should just hit the button and it goes. So if when we were doing it and we weren't solely using Facebook as the platform, we were just streaming, it
from
would
Streamlab.
do it, but we weren't getting credit because I didn't set up the link that way because I really just didn't care. I was just trying to get the streams where they needed to be.
Right.
And now it's like, oh, great, now we got to redo everything. It's just like, damn it. So, yeah.
All right. I did not look up games that are coming out
I
this
did
week,
not either, and I
but
didn't even do
I'm
the
looking at the Epic games right now, so I can do that if you want.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So right now you can get Air Memories of Old, and the Air is spelled AER,
Mm-hmm.
and Stranger Things 3, the game.
Yep.
Both of them are free until July 2nd, and then when July 2nd comes around, you can get Conan Exiles
Yep.
and Hue until July 9th. So then we'll know what games are out after that too. I did try playing Conan Exile once. There was like a free gaming weekend on Steam or
Yep.
something.
Mm-hmm.
That game is rough.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, there's no tutorials,
Mm-hmm.
nothing that tells you how to do anything. So either you've got to just experiment and try to figure it out, or watch a video. And yeah, I was like, I don't know if this is good enough for me to watch a video to figure it out.
Kind of like Star Wars Galaxies back in the day before the two major updates. It was basically pick your class, pick your species, and go. And you were like, what the hell do I do? It was rough back in the day. I mean, EverQuest didn't have any tutorials back in the day.
No, it was
In the beginning, it was
all
just like,
forums and
okay,
whatnot. Yeah.
you're this, go. And there were no quests ever, ever. It was just basically
Oh, there were
leveling up.
quests, but you didn't get
Not
experience for them.
well, not quests in the way we have them now in
No.
WoW and in any other game. There was basically you would pick something up along the way, and it usually
Well,
maybe started with a drop, and you
yeah.
read it,
Or you
and
were
then
talking to
you.
somebody and they're like, "Oh, well, I'm a blacksmith, but I can't help you
Hmm.
right now because my daughter's missing." And you'd go,
Yep.
"Missing daughter?" question mark. And
Yeah.
you'd have to get the right
And elaborate.
wording to
Yeah.
get him to respond. And yeah, it was very tedious, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it made it where not everybody could get everything because you had to figure things out.
Yeah, so like back in Star Wars Galaxies, to become a Jedi, you actually had to unlock being force sensitive. You had to do all of these things. And then once that happened, you had a bunch of other things to do, and it was in this odd cycle, and if you weren't on top of it and you missed a cycle, you had to wait for the cycle to come back around. It was crazy back then, and there was no definitive way written quest wise. You just had to figure it out. I
Yeah.
mean, granted, after a while people started putting it up on the forums and you knew how to do it, but early on it was just like there's no
And people
Jedi
wanted
in
to
this?
feel special too, so they didn't like when
Well,
they figured out they didn't just immediately go out and put that out there. Or
well
if it,
yeah, and then it was like, well, and then Jedis, if they died, they were permanently dead. If you logged in as that character, you were a blue glowy, man. You were a dead Jedi. So it was really weird back then. And there was no true quest line that way. Now, after they changed it around, NGECU quests happened, and that was again the where everybody like me was like, I loved it up here when it was this hard and da 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 da, and then once they made it super easy, I was like, well, this kind of sucks.
What is this,
What's
baby
what's
ass
my
baby
what is
mode?
it? What is this motivation? Where's my motivation to do this stuff anymore? Like, if everybody could just be what it took me forever to do, then like, what the hell? Again, we've had many discussions on like, wow, when it was hard, and wow now. I click two buttons. That's all I got to do. Two buttons. Two buttons.
Well,
Oh
you
my
you
god.
felt a sense of accomplishment when you did something that you knew, like either nobody else had done or few people had done. Like there was a, God, I can't remember the name of it, but there was a flaming sword for the paladins in EverQuest, and there were two paladins that had it on my server, and they were both from the main two guilds of the server. I was the
Mm-hmm.
third one to get it. And even though I was the third, it felt like such an accomplishment because you had to do like this raid in what's that Freeport, right? That first city. You had to do this raid type thing in Freeport where you had to pull this guy out. You had to train this guy out into the desert next to it and fight him there. Otherwise, you'd pull in half the town. And it was just like this ordeal. I had to pull in like all these people from all these different guilds to come and help me, and we got it done. But it was just like it
Yeah.
felt like such a huge accomplishment. Like, yes, I am the man right now, and all these people made it happen. Thank you. It was just like this huge thing. You don't get that in games these days. It's
No.
just not the same.
The heyday of MMOs when MMOs were great. That was like the golden age of MMOs when things were really it was new and before the toxicity and the easiness set in.
Oh, there was
Now it's just
toxicity in EverQuest. If you ever
there
read the
was, but
forums,
it wasn't like it is now. It's
the word
I
flaming somebody in a forum came from EverQuest. So
from yeah. Oh yeah,
yes,
there's a lot of things that came from EverQuest that are still around today. That whole like QQ wasn't like complaining about something. QQ was like me telling you you suck so bad, so hit control QQ to log out, type thing. That was one of those things that was
but that's not
early on.
how it started though. It started because the Japanese players would do it when they were upset, and then the
It,
Americans players took it and spun it.
it's two sides of the same coin. It was
Oh no,
basically,
it was from the Japanese
dude,
players and their
it,
emotes.
no, I mean, it basically was a control command.
Yeah,
They
they
decided
emoted it.
to.
They
Well, they
would emote
emoted
it.
it, but it came from the same thing where it was like QQ, which is quit, basically just quit,
But that's not
and it
how it
wasn't.
started. It started as them like
Dude, I was just reading that the
crying.
other day. I was just reading that the other day,
That's
and
what
that's
it's
where
become. That's not what it
no,
started out as.
no, QQing now is crying, complaining about something. No, basically, the
QQing
saying
started out as crying. Now it's saying now it's turned into QQ quit.
no, it was actually an old command to just abruptly quit a game.
Right, I get
Boom,
that.
boom. Okay,
But
I'm just saying.
that's not where it started though.
That's actually where it started was the command, and then it evolved. People were like, "Well, QQ, we'll just quit."
They were saying it in EverQuest way before it became QQ to command to stop, quit.
It's we're saying the same thing. I'm just saying it's an old thing that has evolved and is
Yeah,
still
it
around.
has evolved and it's become really toxic. But
Yes, but back then it wasn't as bad as the toxicity now. Is what where I was
yeah.
trying to segue. This is basically MMORPGs aren't what it used to be. Like that was it was great back then. Now
Well,
it's not so great.
when you had to figure out things that I mean, now you get these big old yellow quest icons above heads and stuff, and you didn't get that back then.
Who was the first company that made it that way? I mean, it was basically Blizzard that
Mm-hmm.
turned the MMOs from something hard to something easy.
Yeah.
No, basically it was basically now I have this definitive quest chain, and it becomes kind of linear. To whereas back in the day we were just like, oh, I'll just kill shit and basically figure it out as I go, and that was half the fun of it. It was a new frontier at that point. You know, it was still hard back when Blizzard first did it. I mean, it took you forever to get
Yeah.
60. You know,
And they had it
and
where a boss would spawn, and if you killed it, it was gone for a week for everybody.
well, yeah, I mean, EQ did that too. I mean,
Yeah.
the long ass spawn
Well, that's what I'm
timers.
saying.
Oh yeah,
EQ, it was like
oh yeah.
every week. So I, I don't know. There's a lot of things that I know about from EverQuest. Fires of Heaven, what they would used to do, they called it ghosting. So what they would do is they would have their high internet modem connected, their ISDN or whatever it was back then, and then they would have their other modem connected, and they would drop one of them. I don't remember which one, if it was the higher speed one or the lower speed one, and it would basically make it where they were in the game, but nothing could touch them. They couldn't touch anything either. So what they would do is they would ghost, and they would run through this whole dungeon, this raid, and get to a spot so that then they would log out. So when they logged in, they would all be right there, and
Yeah,
they would
yeah.
beat everybody to it because everybody else is trying to get through the whole raid to get to it, and they're already there beating the end dungeon boss and stuff like that. So there are all kinds of things that happened back in the EverQuest days that were just
Parking didn't always work out as well because I had a guy that I was playing EQ with, and he was waiting, I think, for Vindy the Vindicator to pop up, and he had parked, and then he didn't park far enough forward.
so
So when he
yeah.
logged in, he got killed, and it was basically like it took us forever to drag his corpse out because I don't know. I mean, back in the day when you died, you had to go back to your corpse,
And resin.
loot your corpse,
Yeah.
and you would actually lose some experience. So he tried to go back in a couple of times, and he would kept dying. So he was like losing chunks of experience, and he wasn't
Levels.
getting his equipment back. Yeah, and finally, it took a bunch of people of us to go in so someone could drag his corpse out, so he could
Yeah.
get it.
Well,
So
that's
yeah,
what you needed a monk for, right?
yeah, yeah.
So,
It was back. It was rough back in the day, man, and people don't realize
how
how
many
bad it
times
was.
did you have a monk run up on you with a train of the whole dungeon and feign death right on your party?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah. I had that happen a lot.
It's like,
Or when you'd be raiding, or you'd be just doing something like farming a specific material, because that's how I made money, and that was farming like rafter hides or whatever. And there was only a few areas that it was really profitable, and if you were doing it and someone else didn't like it, they would train all of these mobs in on you to kill you and take over your spot.
yeah.
I was like, oh, you guys suck so bad.
You know,
Yeah, so
I fully believe that part of EverQuest was a social experiment.
probably. I mean, I don't deny that. I mean, because it was one of the first ones that wasn't really a mud or whatever. That it was basically gooey. And it was new. No, you never had that many people in there, and
And
it
the
was just
players made their own rules, basically. They
pretty
said,
much. I mean, you were basically bound by your class. That was it. You know, you didn't have anything else. So there was nothing really telling you what you could do and couldn't do. You know, there was no factions, so there was no Horde or Alliance or whatever. Everyone could pretty much talk to everybody. So it was different back then, and so yeah, I could see where it could have been a social experiment. Definitely a successful one since everybody has pretty much copied, off of that game. And if you talk to people at Blizzard, they always reference EverQuest,
well, because a lot of
as
them played
well, a lot of
EverQuest.
well, they either played EverQuest or they were working early on in with Sony when they did that. Because I mean, Sony made it up front.
Well, I told you this before that one of the main raiding guilds was Afterlife. It was on a different server than mine. I wasn't on that server, but they took either with the guild leader or somebody who was prominent in their raiding group and hired them like early on in beta alpha to work on the raids for World of Warcraft. So
Yeah,
they knew they were modeling a lot of stuff after it.
yeah. why not? I mean, it was successful because if not, the game would have never gotten to whatever. I mean, it's still around now, and whatever expansion it's on. I mean, I pretty
Yeah.
much. Where did I stop? Gates of Discord, I think, is where I stopped. But I mean, that was a long ways in. I mean, that's after Planes of Power,
Yeah.
all of that stuff.
I stopped
So
when I played the expansion where they introduced the Beast Lord. Was that the class?
yeah, I played a
Uh,
Beast Lord for a long
yeah.
time.
I
For
played
a
a
long
Beast
time.
Lord, maxed him out, and I played a long time. I don't know if I played the expansion after that, but I definitely played that expansion. I love the
Oh, and
Beast
then I
Lord.
played. I mean, yeah, I played well beyond that. I was, like I said, the Gates of Discord is basically where I was like, I'm kind of done because there was this rumor of this other MMO coming out, and I got a hold of early on, and that was World of Warcraft that pulled me away from EverQuest. So,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
EverQuest, man. That's some memories from back in the day.
it was a great game. But if you go and look at it now, you're like,
Ugh.
I played that. I
Yeah.
played that for hours. It was one of those things where you were like, I remember when they gave us new particle effects for some of the spells, and you were like, this is freaking amazing. I mean,
Remember when
you cast,
they reskinned it basically? What was it, like
yep,
the second or third expansion? They
yep.
reskinned it. That was an epic change. So
And then they tried to carry on with the success, and they spun off EverQuest 2,
two.
which really didn't do as well. Um, there was definitely a significant increase in of graphics and all of the other things, but it just didn't have the same magic that
No,
the original had. It basically fell short because it was more quest driven. It basically became linear
it
to
was really
whereas
grindy.
EQ it was really grindy, but it was linear to whereas EQ was not linear early on. It was very much just forge your own path. How do you get to the max level? Where do you want to basically it was where do you want to grind? And basically you're like, okay, I maxed out this zone, and then it was like, well, where do I go from here? And you would have to talk to people or go to the forums or
Or
wherever
just
to
run
figure out,
around. Yeah,
or run around until you find a zone that had the mobs that were of a
gave you
level that gave
experience.
you
Yeah,
gave you experience, and but dropped enough in loot that it was worth your time.
yeah.
So it was like, God, it was so different back then.
Unless you were a druid, then you just kite things that were like 10, 15 levels higher than you and kill them.
Well, Death Knights were the same way.
Oh, Death
You
Knights.
know,
Jeez.
yeah, Death Knights are the
Especially
same way.
troll Death Knights. Yikes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was different back then. Not as easy as it is now. And it was basically the downfall became when MMOs became mainstream. It basically became
Well, that was
everybody.
EverQuest, though.
Well, not EverQuest. EverQuest it wasn't as mainstream as when World of Warcraft.
No, no, but it
World of Warcraft
was
pushed
huge
MM.
when it came out.
Oh, yes, but it not as big as what World of Warcraft. I mean, World of Warcraft. I mean, there were commercials. You had Ozzy doing commercials
Well,
and
yeah,
Mr. T, and that they pushed MMOs into the front to where everybody then was like, "Oh, I want to play this," and then it was like, well, then you have like generations of families who play it, and all of a sudden it was like, well, I want this to be easier so my kid can play, and then the skill set dropped,
the
But back in the
barrier
day,
of entry.
but back in the day, I mean, it was hard,
Yeah,
uh, so
I'm
this
with you. I loved the EverQuest days, but there was a lot of things about it that I didn't like. So I'm not mad at a lot of the changes, but some of it is like I wish like World of Warcraft still had its quest like they have it, but I wish there was like a secret one or secret ones that you still had to do like the figuring out, typing in the words to say, and that kind of thing to unlock it. I
but
think that would be amazing to find something like that in
well,
there.
the problem is those people are long gone that had that mindset. You have a different mindset of people running WoW now. I mean, I don't think Ian was around back then. He started off just as a raid designer. So again, you could see as people have come and gone with at WoW, and how certain things have shifted. Where when Ian was doing raids were more difficult. But now that he's promoted to game executive, he's basically runs all of WoW. He's got a broader scope, so everything's not as difficult to raid.
Yeah.
He has brought in some good quality of life stuff, but again, for me, it's like, okay, that's nice, but what about the difficultness of the rest of the game? Like, great, make it easy for me to get max level, but what keeps me logging in? What keeps me paying that monthly subscription? If you make raids too easy, then I get done with that tier, and then I'm like, well, I'm done.
So, what other MMOs have you played? Anarchy Online?
So I played EQ, EQ2. Um, I played Eve from early on. Um, Played a little bit of Anarchy. Um,
Played the heck out of Anarchy. I had friends that played that game.
um, so basically, the biggest two or the biggest three would have been EQ, Star Wars Galaxies, and then WoW. You know, um, and I mean, I was playing WoW and Star Wars Galaxies probably simultaneously for a long time, because that's how I got my Star Wars fix. you know,
I didn't do
so
Galaxies because SEO took over it, and I was done with EverQuest and done with them at that point.
well, SOE ran it the whole time. It was one.
I know. That's why I didn't play Galaxies.
Oh, I loved the Galaxies. The SOE did a great job with Galaxies.
But I did play Knights, so.
Oh, well, and Knights is fine. It's just it became there's nothing to keep me going back once I finish that current arc. Because everything's an arc. So when I finish the whole story, I don't necessarily stick around for the operations, and I can do all of the dungeons solo mode. You know, so basically you can fill out your whole dungeon with player character or NPC characters and go through it. So it's like, all right, I'm done. So and then I'm done with it until the next year that I go back because something new came out. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think there's any MMOs on the horizon that warrant any kind of anything.
Honestly, MMOs are on their way out. There's you're not gonna see. I mean, look at Skyrim or not Skyrim on Elder Scrolls Online. I mean, it's there. It's still producing DLCs, but it doesn't have the player count. I mean, MMOs really are on their way out.
I don't know.
As
Going
much
to
as I love
Skyrim,
them,
not Skyrim. You got me saying Elder Scrolls Online. You go into that. There's still a decent player base. Not like it was when it started.
that's
But
the thing. Is there a player base to continuously support this? I mean,
they're obviously making expansions and
there's
making
enough
money.
to
So.
there's enough to warrant expansions, but not forever. I mean, look at WoW. Its numbers have vastly dropped. It is their cash cow, even though they like to say that their cash cow is not Heroes. The shooter.
Overwatch.
Overwatch, but it's
But you
again.
pay for Overwatch once and you're done with
I'm
that.
done.
With
Well,
WoW, you got to pay $15. So every 4 months, you're paying for a brand new full release of a game to them every 4 months. So that means 3 times a year, you're basically buying a game from Blizzard.
Yes.
So
And I don't know. I mean, I still think MMOs are on their way out. You just don't see them cranking out as many anymore. They're really focusing on games that
games
have
as a service.
Multiplayer.
Yeah, it's going games as a
Yeah.
service. It's going Fortnite. It's going PUBG. It's doing that.
So,
But I also know that there's a huge demographic of players out there, and I'm one of them, that's tired of those games. I'm tired of those games being on the top of the streaming pages. I'm tired of having to weed through all those to get to the games that I want to watch somebody stream or the videos that I want to watch.
but we're the aging out generation of gamers, dude. I mean, we're
I don't know about that. I know a lot of younger generation that feel the same way.
yeah, but they're not the majority. Or if they were the majority, they'd be tailoring games that way. I mean, honestly, the games that you and I like playing, the MMOs and stuff like that, we're becoming the minority. And you know, the loot box is finally going away because that was a huge issue. But by and large, I mean, it is what it is.
I think they just need to have an evolution of MMOs. The next MMO that comes out that changes everything has to be an evolution. If it's not, then I agree with you. MMOs are dead. They're not going to go anywhere.
Well, I mean,
but if you can evolve, if you can evolve on it.
Them. But how many games have people said, okay, this is it. This is the WoW killer. And how many of them have fallen flat? You know, this is going to be the one that's going to kill World of Warcraft. And we're all like, okay, what is it going to be? What is it going to be? And
well,
it's like,
why does it have
to
kill World of Warcraft? Why can't they both be successful?
Well, I mean, by and large, the numbers are declining for MMOers. I mean, it's the natural order of things. I don't think MMOs are going to stick around forever and ever and ever. They had their heyday. They were on top. But gamers like you and I, we're aging out that want that type of game that takes we log in and continuously work on this character. The younger generation doesn't seem to want that, which is disappointing because I mean
I think that's many generalizing
many working on Oz and all of my other characters that I love, and
I think that's a huge generalization that may or may not be true. We don't know. We don't have the stats.
May not be true.
We don't have the stats to say it is.
We don't have the stats, but I'm just saying
because nobody's going to release by age who's subscribed to what. They're not going to say that.
Well, Blizzard stopped releasing all of the numbers to WoW. They stopped doing that probably around Pandaria.
They never released by age either. They never released it.
No, but they'll tell you how many subscribers they do have.
Right, but you don't know the age group in that. We never did.
They're of gaming age, you know, which is basically it's a big swath. I'm just saying, but they don't have as many, or they would continue to release the numbers. And they have shrunk down the server count. It's not as big as it used to be. I'm just saying it's the natural order, dude. I'm not saying I'm not being an ass here. I'm just saying from what I see, if MMOs were still the thing, if they were still what made everybody money, everybody would still be cranking them out. And they're not.
You can't crank out an MMO. That's the problem.
You can't crank them out, but once you get them out, you would continue to support it until the next gen came out. The thing is, there's not been that. What was the most recent MMO that you really remember hearing about? For me, it was like Elder Scrolls Online was a big one that, you know, we were like, could it do it? And it really didn't. It does what it does well, but it's not going to dethrone anything.
No. Well, that's what I'm saying. Why does it have to dethrone anything? Why can't it just be success in its own right? We're so like, who's on top? Well, WoW's on top, but why? Well, is it? I don't even know. Is Final Fantasy 14 on top? I don't know. But why do you have to dethrone somebody to be successful? You don't. You got Fortnite, you got PUBG, you've got Apex Legends. All three of those games are successful right now.
Are they though?
They are.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know about Apex. But
Apex is still going strong. Still a lot of people playing it. Still a lot of people streaming it. It's so there's 3 games in the Royale, you know, genre, whatever you want to call that genre, that are doing well. MMOs could be the same thing. I see WoW, Final Fantasy, ESO is a free-to-play one now. That's where it has an edge over the other two, is you can get a new audience there just by buying the new expansion and having all the older expansions included in that. And now you've got people playing that and not having to pay for future stuff because you don't have to pay the monthly thing.
If you don't pay the subscription, you're kind of hindered. So.
Not so much.
Well, I mean, so if you look at a lot of the freemium type of games,
I'm just talking about ESO. I'm not talking about the other ones.
Well, I mean, they still want you to pay to have full access to everything.
You have full access. You just don't.
Yeah.
when you do the thing for ESO, whatever they call it, the pass, you get extra items, you get extra money, you get things with it. They're not saying that you couldn't get these things. You can't get the cosmetics, but the other stuff in the game you could still get. It would just be grindy and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I love MMOs. I don't think I think the heyday is come and gone. There will always be an MMO out there. I just the having abundant to choose from is not going to be there anymore.
I think the next MMO that comes out needs to incorporate newer gaming features into it. If I was WoW, one of the first things I would have done over the last couple years is I would have added Battle Royale to the PvP.
I mean, don't they kind of have that already?
No, they don't. They don't have Battle Royale where the world shrinks and it comes down to one person.
Well, I mean, okay, they really don't have that, but I mean,
so I would have done that.
There,
the PvP's there, but I mean, I would have started adding some of these new things that are popular and get them in there just to see how they would do. I mean, how much development does that really take? You have big maps, say Alteric Valley, right? And you have a mechanic where it shrinks down and there's 50 players go in, 100 players go in, and they're not on the same team, and or maybe you do fours or something, and you just go to town.
It would kind of break WoW. I mean, it would kind of break the whole story because it's factional based in WoW. To where like.
Well, you could only team up with people of your faction, but I mean, you killing
again,
other people of your faction.
In a Royale, only one person's left at the end.
So maybe it's some alternate weird thing that some dude.
I don't know.
You could spin it into the lore if you really wanted to.
Somehow. I guess. It doesn't fit the story.
Who cares? It would be fun. I think a battle royale in WoW would be kind of fun.
Yeah. Oh, I would. I mean, for me, I have absolutely no desire to play PvP or royales or whatever. But yeah, it would have to incorporate something new to bring to the genre of MMOs to really, because all of them have pretty much been there, done that. At some varying thing, like, oh, we want player housing. Well, I was like, well, player housing would be a bitch to do, so we'll give you this or that, to kind of fill that void or whatever. I don't know, man.
They could have done so much more with the forts you had, whatever they were called. I can't remember what they're called.
The strongholds were actually supposed to be much grander. They just couldn't fit it in within the time frame that
they could have.
Remember, you were supposed to be able to build your stronghold wherever you wanted.
Yeah, and however you wanted, but everybody's ended up looking the same. That's what I'm saying. They could have done so much more with that. Even if what they would have did was release it the way they did, and then the next expansion built on it. That's the problem. They do these things, and they don't build on them. They did this thing. They put all this effort into it. Didn't go anywhere. So it's in that one expansion. When you're done with that expansion, you never go back.
They have done it. Every expansion is a new slate. A new thing to do.
I think you need to take ideas like that and you need to build on it.
Well, look what happened when they tried to carry that over. So with Legion, you had the really good. So, okay, let's go back. So Warlords had the strongholds. Okay, good. Then they went into Legion, which is, okay, each class now has their own unique area. And they gave you this really, kick-ass weapon. So as a warlock, I had one of the three. I was destruction, so I had the Staff of Sargeras, which could open up time and space. And then they tried to carry that on into the next one, which was that stupid, was it the Ring? Which is the current one we're on now. Which is that damn. And you empower that ring or whatever, or no.
But you don't go back to your class area. You don't go and do quests there. Why not?
Because you're
but
done.
You shouldn't be. That's what I'm saying. They need to carry that stuff over and expand on it. If that fort that I still had, my stronghold, if I still had that would add depth to what I was doing. If they would expand it upon it each expansion, Maybe not the one where you go to your class area and do that stuff. Even though I think that you should go and it should have its own storyline going into the next expansions. You should be doing all that stuff because those that was some of the funnest stuff in there is going, especially the Warlock area, going and doing those things in there.
Warlock was by far the best.
Yeah,
one.
they needed to go. They should have kept that going, and then should have kept the strongholds going. And you would have those two other features in the new expansion. Yeah, maybe you're doing a ring this time, but you still have those features in there. You're building upon those. In the next one, everything's going to be scrapped again. It's going to be like this whole new thing that's not really new. It's still going to be having the same old, just a new wrapper on it. Yeah, I don't know.
Like I said, it's hard to keep these things going. It's because people want something new after they play this expansion for a year or two. They're ready to be done with it. So I don't know if you could keep bringing over the Warlock Zone or the Stronghold because I mean technically every time a new expansion happens, we're doing new content somewhere, so I'd have to build a new Stronghold.
No, you build off of your old Stronghold. You continue.
So I got to go back to time bent Draenor to keep going to that Stronghold. I mean that makes no sense.
What do you care if you had a Hearthstone? It took you right there.
I guess. I mean, the point is I don't. The Stronghold was great. It showed us something, but they realized that it wasn't something that they could expand on, and it wasn't
because they didn't let you customize
popular.
It would because they could have they should have realized their mistakes, and when they expanded on it, fixed them. Instead, they just like, well, it didn't work out the way we wanted, so let's just get rid of it on the next expansion. I don't agree with that at all. They should have expanded on it, made it where it was customizable, made it where it was yours, because that's what people want. Maybe give you a room in the back of your stronghold where you can actually show off your trophies and stuff and hang them on the wall and whatnot. Anything to not just trash it. That's all I'm saying. All right.
Yeah, that's that new expansion moving on thing,
Yeah.
So.
All right, I think we beat this dead horse, and we're way over our normal time. I don't even know how long we've been going. What, over 2 hours?
A while.
Now?
Yeah.
So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and end this stream news thing here, where we're just bantering on about MMOs. We love MMOs. We just wish that there was newer ones that were better. So.
Yeah, I agree. It's yeah. But again, we'll debate this again at some other time.
Yeah, we always seem to come back to this for some reason. All right, so we do this Sunday nights. We got to start a little late tonight, mainly because I was finishing up Persona 5 and didn't get to looking into the news and notes until after I was done with that. But the last part of Persona 5 Royal is really long, and you can't go back. You can't save in the middle of it, really. You got to do like the whole thing to end it. It's kind of tedious, but was worthwhile. Anyway, so that's why we start off late, but we do this every Sunday. So if you guys want to catch us next Sunday, just jump on in, and we'll have another one. And we're going to be streaming this week. I don't know what yet, but we're going to be streaming some stuff, so look for that, and we'll try to give you guys a heads up. Maybe Diablo 3, maybe something else, maybe one of these. We'll try a new MMO that's free or something. We'll do something.
We'll see.
Yeah, maybe that's what we should do. Like jump in an MMO and just like criticize the heck out of it.
We could.
There's a lot of free to play stuff out there. We could do it. And we could definitely do that. So. All right. So, anyways, until next video or stream, take care. Bye bye now. Static and Buzz out.